All right, guys, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Daroo. I've been a performance coach for 16 plus years, worked with well over 7 world champions, 200 professional fighters, and also worked with the likes of Dustin Poirier, Edson Barbosa, Junior Dos Santos, Ioane and Jacek, just to name a few. I also was awarded 5 times Trainer of the Year for the MMA awards. So today though, however, I'm gonna go over my criteria, my rankings of the best strength exercises that you can utilize for transferability and overall performance in the cage. The way I'm going to break this down though, however, is it's going to be a 4-step process. The first step is to define the objectives, right? The objectives are going to be transfer to the sport, so transferability. How is this exercise going to help you in the cage? Another thing is going to be movement quality, right? The overall efficiency of the movement, the transfer of energy, that's going to be key. Training directed stimulus. Is this going to directly impact how I perform inside the cage? The other one is going to be risk versus reward. This is key because at the end of the day, inside the weight room is all general in nature. So we want to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck without causing risk of injury. And then technical complexity. How complex is the actual exercise, right? We don't want to throw too many high complex movements at an individual, especially a fighter, because they have to do their skills training. So we want to give them the simplest form of activities so that they can take that exercise and utilize it in their field of sport. Step number 2, right? We got to look at the criteria, right? So the criteria are going to be broken down into weight, and then I'll go over the description. So first criteria, transfer, like we talked about. Now, we're going to rank this from a weight of 4 to 5. The description of the transfer is going to be directly improve sports performance, like I talked about. The next one is going to be fatigue cost, right? How fatiguing is that actual exercise? The weight is going to be somewhere in the medium range, so 2 to 3. And this is going to produce a high CNS return, right? So how taxing is this actual exercise for the sport? Skill requirement, like we talked about, the complexity of the exercise. This is going to be low to medium on the weight, so a 1 to 3. And does it require extensive technical skill? The next one is going to be joint stress or risk of injury. This is going to be a high weight of 3 to 5. Now, does this carry high injury risk? So we have to be careful of that. And then also loadability, right? That's going to be in the medium weight range, 2 to 3. Does it progressively allow you to increase load over time? All right. So how are we going to put the weight and the actual criteria together? So step number 3, you're going to score this based on each exercise. The score is going to be a 1 to 5. 1 equal very low, 5 being high. You're going to take the weight and multiply that score to the criteria, and that's what you're going to get through your overall score. Let's give an example of a trap bar deadlift, right? So from a transfer to goal, you have a 5 on the weight, you have a 4 on the actual criteria, and it equals out to 20, right? So 4 times 5 equals 20, right? Then as you go down the line, you have fatigue cost, skill, joint stress, and loadability, all equaling out to 56. Now, if you go to step 4, you're going to see how you're going to be able to create your tiers. The tiers are going to be set up through 1 through 4. The first tier is going to be the elite transfer. That means that your overall score is going to be somewhere around 60 to 75 plus. Tier number 2 is going to be more supportive, maybe some primary builders. This is going to be your supplemental lift that I usually like to call a builder lift. Now that's going to be somewhere around a 45 to 59 score. Tier number 3 is going to be more accessory, corrective exercises. This is going to land at about 30 to 44. And tier number 4 is going to be your low return on investment or low return on time. It's very monotonous, almost like a filler, and that's going to be below 30. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over 6 movements from a lower body movement, an upper body push, and an upper body pull. And I'm going to rank those in tiers so that you can follow and put this into a program that fits you and your needs. Here we go. We have the lower body portion. We're going to go into the tiers from 1 to 2 that are going to give you the highest transfer. They're going to give you the highest CNS return, the skill acquisition. It's going to have some joint stress, but that's going to allow you to be stronger and improve your tendon strength. Also, loadability, how well you can progressively load this over time to get stronger. So the first one is going to be a Zercher squat. Now, The Zercher squat, you are going to be putting the load in the crooks of your elbow, but the goal here is that transfer is very high. You're also working a compound movement. So you're also working not only the legs, but the upper body, because you have to maintain your posture, which is very good from a carryover standpoint when you're getting in the clinch, when you're digging for underhooks, and you're going for that takedown. So I rank this one on tier 1 for elite transfer. The second one is gonna be the trap bar deadlift. The trap bar deadlift has low complexity. It allows for the athlete to get into a deadlift position or a hinge position and drive forcefully off of the ground. This is gonna be somewhere around, this was hard, but tier 2, I would say tier 1, tier 2, it is a supportive exercise, but there is some level of transfer. The only difference is that you're never really gonna pick something off the ground like that in a fight. So it's not as high as the Zercher, but definitely a supportive exercise. Upper body push, all right? So with the upper body push, I'm gonna go with the floor press. And the reason why I say that it has elite transfer, if you're looking for when you're on the ground, especially in jiu-jitsu, getting some space, pushing off and working the anterior chain, this does have elite transfer from that perspective. There is a high CNS return. The skill acquisition, you don't necessarily need to have too much skill to get this done. The joint stress is somewhat minimal, but the loadability is high, right? So we can make sure that we can increase that load over time. It's a good press variation for the combat sport athlete. That's why I'm putting it here on tier 1 for elite transfer. The second one is gonna be the landmine punch press. Don't get this confused with the rotational press, which is more for power production, which maybe I'll do, if you leave the comments down below, maybe I'll do a power version of this. But for strength, I'm just gonna go with a basic punch press, and this is gonna be set at tier 2 for supportive exercise because it is single arm. You can work it unilateral, you can work on those bilateral deficits. So I am gonna put this at tier 2 for a supportive exercise. So when I look at this as I program it, right, I'm gonna look at tier 1 exercises being the tester lift, tier 2 exercises being the builder lift, something that you could use in your second exercise when you go to program to help with supplementing and working on the strengths that are going to carry over to the tier 1 exercise. Now, real quick, if you didn't know, I do have all these programs with these particular exercises all in one app. It's called the Fight Life app. Make sure you check it out. Link is in the description with all of my elite programs, along with some specialized programs that you can use to get better. Upper body pull. Now, this one was pretty tough, but I'm gonna have to go with the Penlay row for tier 1 with elite transfer. You're starting from a dead stop position, so you're working on that rate of force. You're in a hinge position, but you're also working a row pattern, right? This is gonna help with posture, and it's gonna help with pulling power. The next one, I'm gonna go vertical pulling, and that's gonna be a basic chin up. Now, obviously, if you want to load this, you can put load on your body, you can put a chain on, you can put a belt, you can grab a dumbbell in between your legs, put a kettlebell on your toes, whatever you need to do to increase the load. Maybe a weight vest would be good too as well. That's gonna be a supportive exercise. So elite transfer exercises are your compound first movement that you wanna do. You can put maximal load on that. You can do a max effort lift, and then your supportive exercises, you wanna stick between 3 to maybe 5 reps so that you're still getting strength, but you don't have to max it out. I'm gonna give you some extras for the corrective exercises. This is gonna stick between that tier 3 where it's still gonna help and benefit you. So I'm gonna go with the glute ham raise for the posterior chain, and a Z press. Now the Z press helps the entire anterior chain, especially when you're sitting in that position with your feet out. As you go to press overhead, if you have the proper joint prerequisites to actually get overhead, it's a good movement to do from a vertical pressing perspective to allow you to get stronger in that range. All right, so GHR and Z press. What's up guys, Daroo here. Make sure you like this video and subscribe for more. See you on the next one.